the writing community chat show, Advent Christmas Calendar.
Adele Parks.
Yay! I'm giving my hands
Hello.
here because, normally you'd hear something. So I'm just G'ing it along.
We must get some sound effects in for the next announcement.
That'd be hilarious.
Welcome to the show, and I'm very happy that you're here, and we're very grateful. How is Adele Parks? Is there a hangover today?
There is a bit. Let's be honest. So yeah, it was launch night last night, and obviously in the climate we're in, launch night was 6 of us going out for dinner. So me, my husband,
Wow.
and 4 of my nearest and dearest. But I think we did well. I think we gave it a good launching. You know, a ship is like launched with a bottle being smashed against it. I might have necked a bottle at least last night. So I'm feeling it today, and I've had interviews all day, and I keep going, I'm gonna keep smiling and putting a sentence together so I'm doing really well.
You're doing very well.
I quite like being sassy and provocative. I think whether it was a comedy or whether it's a thriller, I challenge, and I will challenge the reader. I will make you look at things differently. So I think that's pretty much stayed the same. What has changed enormously is my confidence, because obviously 21 books into it and having done the process 21 times, I'm significantly more confident now than I was at the beginning. At the beginning, I liked what I'd written a lot. I liked it, and I think that's good. I think you need to be confident about your own writing. But equally, I didn't really understand the process. I didn't understand how long it would take me to write my second book, because it had taken me a couple of years to write the first one because I was working. And then they were sort of saying, you could give up your job, and they paid me enough of an advance that I could have given up my job. And I was thinking, well, and they wanted to know, we're going to put it in the contract when you could deliver this book. And I was really panicked because I just thought, I don't know when I'm delivering the book.
Yeah.
I don't know how long that takes. Where now I can almost time it to within a week of when I will deliver a book. Yeah. Okay. And do you want to hear why? How?
Go on. Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, a lot of people want to push back their deadlines quite often. So
yeah, and I never push back a deadline. I mean, I just don't. I'm not saying I never will. Something might change in my life, but at the moment, never have.
Let's say the magic trick.
So my magic trick is, first of all, I plot very heavily before I actually start writing. I will go through every kind of twist and turn, and this is particularly important in thrillers. I will go through every twist and turn, and I will flush out the potential dead ends at that stage. Because I think a lot of people lose a lot of time, and this is what I used to do in my early days, because you write and write and write, you think, oh, this is beautiful, and it's really good, and then you get to it and go, oh, now what happens? And you don't know, and then you might lose weeks, and your confidence starts to erode because you think, I don't know what happens. What if nothing happens? What if I have to throw this book out? What if I've wasted 30,000 words? What if I've wasted 6 months of my life? Whatever it might be. But if you've plotted it and you really know where you're going, it gives so much confidence. And the other part to my planning is really understanding my characters before I start. So I have a little tip. And I think it's relatively unique. It's not completely unique, but I think it's relatively unique. I interview my characters, and I always say I need to know them pretty much as well as I know my best friend.
Wow.
So yeah, I mean, probably true as well, because even your best friend is keeping something from you. Just saying.
Talk to us about that a bit more then. How do you interview your character?
So I have sheets of questions, maybe about 50 questions. And some of them might be things like, obvious ones like age, marital status, gender, do they have any kids, all that kind of thing, normal stuff. But then I want to know about this character. I want to know what's their birth sign. That might never come into the book at all. And also, do they even believe in birth signs? But if they do believe in birth signs, what is their birth sign? Because that might inform their characteristics. I know it sounds bonkers, and I don't even know if I believe in birth signs, but some people do that read my books, so that's important to me. I might ask my characters what their favorite outfit is, who their favorite sibling is, what's their most shameful secret, who they tell their secrets to, what their first kiss was like. Do they have, if it's a woman, I will ask her if she has outfits for when she's on her period and another outfit for when she's not because she feels like crap. You know, oh, is she a woman that just bounces through that? But that's kind of like detail. If that turns up in a book, pretty boring book, I promise you. But knowing that character that close is super important to me.
Do you know
And
what? I think I'm writing a story at the moment that's got 11 characters in it. I'm not struggling, but I'm trying to think, how do I give them personalities, as there's so many of them, in the right way? And that is an absolutely genius tip that I think so many people would love to use. I think it's fantastic.
Brilliant. And you honestly do, and you don't have to do, you might not do all 50 questions for all 11 because that will take you a while. But, you know, you pick your protagonist and then you maybe do half of that amount for the other ones. But it just keeps you clear. So then when I start writing, I've got this very strong plot. I've got these very strong characters. So I've already got someone on my team, because I think the other thing all writers will admit to themselves is it's a pretty isolated job, which that might be the attraction for many of us. We might quite like being our own bosses and being in control of everything, but it is an isolated job. And having the plot and the characters, you know, sorted, I feel I've got someone on my team. And then if I do get stuck, I think, oh, hang on, I need in my plot for this character to confide this in someone so that my reader knows it is a fact or it's not a fact. Who would she or he confide it in? Go back to my notes. Oh, well, their best sibling is their brother. Well, maybe make a phone call to him. So that kind of thing is a really big help. So that's how I start. So I will do this for about, and this will blow your socks off, I think. I do this for about 3 months. I literally plan for 3 months. Wow. And by the end of that, I'm itching to get writing. And also you can imagine, as a paid writer, how many people in 3 months say to me, what are you working on? How are you doing? What's your word count? And each time I have to go, I haven't got a word count. I'm still plotting. And they think, oh, she's not very good, is she? But it's actually part of my process. And by the time I do sit down, I am itching to write that book. And it takes me about 6 months then. And 6 months writing 1,000 to 2,000 words every working day, Monday to Friday, up to about 85,000 words. And then I don't write 1,000 to 2,000 words a day, because at 85,000, I start paring back quite a lot, and the word count quite often goes up and down a bit. And then ultimately, I get to about 110,000 words, and the book is done. Wow. And at that stage, I read it aloud to my husband. And you know, it's a good process. It's really good for kind of picking up on repetition or plot holes or just timing plans, and he's pretty good at helping me on that. And then it's done. Ta-da! Look how easy I've made it sound. I mean, but it's in the planning.
I mean, like, the alarm bell in my head in that scenario would be like, if you were up against the time or the deadline, and your husband saying, "Oh, that doesn't make sense," you're like, "Wait, it does make sense." Just you know, does that happen?
Interestingly, in 2 books, I've ditched. So I've kind of skipped a bit. I read them to Jim at 50,000 words, which is about halfway, and then about, as I say, 80, might be 90, but about 80, 90, I read it again to him, and then at the end. And at one book, was it Just My Luck? No, it was the one before that, Lies, Lies, Lies. I ditched the book at 50,000 words.
No way.
I know. I mean, I didn't ditch the entire book because the book is now written, but I completely changed the viewpoint and restructured. And for all my planning, I suddenly found a flaw in it. I just did not like the protagonist. I couldn't warm to her. She was keeping secrets, and if I didn't like her, you know, you weren't going to like her. The readers weren't going to like her. And so I had to restructure it completely. And for her to keep her secrets, I needed a second voice. So her husband got a voice then. And then that completely restructured the book, because I did a chapter on off between Daisy and Simon, which actually was the making of that book. It made it so much more interesting. So I did that. And I remember telling my editor after one time I was going, "Oh, I'm at 50,000 words." She went, "You've been at 50,000 words for ages." I went, "Oh, no, I started again." And her little face dropped, you know.
What?
Yeah.
I mean, but that's a great tip, isn't it, for anyone that's writing? If you're not happy, it doesn't matter how far you're in there. Just, you know, think about what you're doing.
A year later, when I was writing Just My Luck, despite, again, all my planning, and this is just to show you how flawed I am as a human being, really. I got to the 80,000 word stage and didn't like the viewpoint.
Oh no.